Hi, I'm Britt,
And my name is Alyssa.
and this is Skeletales.
And this is a podcast where we answer the age-old question of, is my dead grandma watching me?
She is, and she has decided to take the form of a butterfly when she comes to snoop on you recently.
Oh.
Don't worry. I'll tell you about it in my next story.
Oh, okay. Interesting. I was like, this is a different take.
It is.
All right.
But we talk more about, dead grandmas being butterflies. We also talk about some other stuff too.
Yeah, we talk about paranormal, spooky, cryptids, ghost stories, travel in times.
Strange coincidences. I think you just listed all of them way quicker than my brain was catching up.
Alternate dimensions. Well, the whole while, that was autopilot because you really threw me off with the whole grandma's a butterfly. Move on. Intro.
We do talk about, spooky dooky natural. Nope, not natural. Well, sometimes natural. Supernatural though, really. For sure.
I think yeah, that's what Skeletales is all about. What are we talking about today, Britt? A butterfly.
Alyssa.
That's a grandma.
Yeah, we're not talking about that yet, though.
Oh, shit.
Do you remember last week when I was giving a Jada update?
Mm-hmm.
And Elise had the dream. We were talking about her a lot. So literally the next day, the following day after we recorded, I get a text from Julie, the mom of Elise, who has the ghost friend Jada. This is the text. Elise still talks about Jada, but it's been a while since she's visited. Last night, though, I was reading downstairs and felt someone over my shoulder. Of course, nobody was there. I said, Jada? And a cup fell off the counter. So I freaked out and went upstairs. But it's time we should Ouija before she's gone. So this Saturday, we have it in the books to do a Ouija session at Jada's house. Well, technically it's Julie's house, but Jada resides there.
Oh my
so
God.
We're going to do it. We're going to do it.
I am so excited. That's crazy. So she said Jada and then
Yes.
falling thing.
A cup tumbles off the counter and onto the floor.
Well, we hadn't had a Jada update in quite a while either. And so the fact that it was the day after we talked about her.
The timing, Alyssa, we're literally talking about her on the podcast, and this happens to Julie. So that happened to her on Wednesday when we're recording, and the next day that happened. Or then she tells me about it the next day. So as we were talking about Jada, Jada's in her house.
Oh my God, dude. That's
Maybe we
crazy.
summoned her with our words.
Maybe.
So get ready for next week's story, because it's probably going to be about that Ouija session, which is, I might pee my pants. I'm really scared. I'll be honest. I'm really scared, but I have to know. I have to know.
I just don't know. I mean, I wish, can we bring her back to life? That's the outcome I
know.
want.
That's really, truly the outcome. But I do kind of want a little closure. And if we can help her kind of move on, if she's still around, that could be beautiful too, right?
Yeah, maybe she wants.
Do I have that ability? I don't know.
Do you have that ability? Hell yeah. I don't know. You do. Sure. Maybe. I feel like she wants us, we know who her family is because we've done the research.
We have done the research. We know. Jada, we know.
Find out what you find out.
Okay.
Be clear about it. See.
We'll keep you posted. I will need to probably think of questions. I want everyone to know, though, but when Alyssa and I did our Ouija session, we contacted Alex, our go-to psychic for Skeletales, and he gave us some very specific things to do before and after. So I want everyone to know that we do protect ourselves in these scenarios of we know how to do it right.
Yeah.
There is a right way.
Yeah, Lori, friend of the podcast, Lori did a Ouija session, but got nothing. Nobody.
Poor Lori.
Yeah, I think they're scared of Lori. she's too scary. They're like, I'm not going to fuck around with that. No. I heard something recently, speaking of Jada and Elise, that 80 and like 90% of children report hearing voices. And that they think that it's possible that that accounts for imaginary friends. But what are these voices? Are they really imaginary friends? I mean, the Jada case is very, like, freaking Elise should be on one of those shows like Surviving Death or something. I don't know. Like, I feel if everyone is so convinced that this is this little girl who lived nearby, like, I kind of feel like her family should know about it, but I also don't want to be part of that.
Not our job. Not our
job. Yeah, so I don't know, but I thought that was fascinating. Like 80 to 90% of kids can hear.
Oh man, now I wonder if I did when I was little. I mean, if it's that percentage, we probably did.
Yeah, there's 10% that did not. I bet you did.
Just don't remember.
I did the same thing. I was like, do I remember hearing voices back then? Milo's like, I wasn't in my body until I was 3. Very matter of factly. Milo, like,
who was it?
I don't know. I'm like, what? Where were you, Milo? He's like, well, I don't really know, but I didn't. He's like, yeah, I didn't come into my body till I was 3. Like, it's just what he always says, and he sticks to it, and that's his story.
Kids. Oh, they're fascinating. It's like the most fascinating to me of all of the spookiness is kid stuff. Okay, I have a story for you.
Okay.
And this happened to me. Before I get into my story, though, I would like to dedicate this episode to a sweet kitty, Finn, who crossed the Rainbow Bridge this weekend.
Oh.
Finn's mama is Kendall, who is a super fan of the show and also my bestie. And this happened on Sunday. She said goodbye, and I was there. I wanted to be there to say goodbye and then be there for her too. And he was old. He was 14 and he had diabetes and kidney failure. So it was his time, and it was really beautiful. He was out in the front yard, which was his favorite spot. And there was, a patch of sunlight with his kitty bed in it. And, this cat has lived just the most luxurious life. So, of course, like, it had to be, a very fancy ending. She hired somebody to come, so it happened at home. And so we're out in the front lawn saying our goodbyes, and Finn is kind of like, he's walking around, but he's really quite out of it. And like, I'm even thinking, like, is he gonna make it till like the vet administers anything? And so he goes and he's laying in his little kitty bed in this patch of sunshine, and this butterfly comes down and lands right by his face. And he perks up like a little kitten and starts bounding after this butterfly and kind of pawing at it and jumping. And I'm like, this is a cat that is about to die. What is happening? And he follows the butterfly over to the side of the house, and the butterfly lands on the side of the house. And we look at Finn, and we look at the butterfly, and we look at Finn, and then the butterfly's gone. We don't see it fly away. It just is gone. And this kind of reminded me of a incident that happened several years ago when my mother-in-law passed away, and we had her ashes and we were spreading them in one of her favorite spots, and it was Mike's siblings all together, and we're spreading the ashes, and this huge butterfly flies down and is just encircling us and hanging out with this, the group of us there. And then it flies away. And then I'm remembering, and there was a post on Facebook, in our Facebook group, the Skeletels community, and somebody mentions that their sister comes to visit them in the form of a blue butterfly, and that it was really symbolic. She had a blue butterfly tattoo, and she got a matching tattoo with that her same sister had, and a blue butterfly showed up in Michigan the same time her sister passed away. And she said, blue butterflies, I've never seen a blue butterfly in Michigan in my life. And there it was. So it got me thinking that I was like, this is such a curious phenomenon. Like, what is this? So, of course, I had to research a little bit. And there is a book out there called Hello from Heaven by Bill and Judy Guggenheim. And this is what it says. The butterfly is the most frequently mentioned after-death communication called an ADC sign, kind of like a cardinal is an ADC sign.
Yeah.
It is a spiritual symbol for life after death because of its metamorphosis or transformation from a caterpillar that crawls on the ground to a beautiful, almost ethereal creature that flies through the air. It's also become a symbol for personal growth and spiritual rebirth. So they tell a story, and I'm debating on if I want to tell this story or not, because I teared up when I read it. Should I read it?
Yeah, why not? Let's keep it fresh.
Should.
Let's make our listeners cry. We haven't done
well,
that
yet. If I'm sobbing, you can cut it. All right.
Okay.
So they share a story from Al, who's a retired New York police officer who lives in Florida. He had this unforgettable contact 10 months after his daughter Diana died in an automobile accident when she was 17 years old. He says, on the 4th of July, we were up at our summer home in Pennsylvania. I was there with my wife and her aunt, her uncle, and her cousin. We were sitting out on the lounge chairs, and I was having a cigar. This butterfly just happened to be flying around. I looked at it and right away thought of my daughter, Diana. I thought, if it's you, Diana, come down and tell me. And it did. Immediately, the butterfly landed on my finger. It walked up and down my finger and then onto my hand, back and forth. I could even see its little feelers moving. I couldn't believe it. My wife sort of looked at me. I think she knew what I was thinking, and I finished my cigar and got up. The butterfly stayed right on my hand. I walked all the way to the house, went to the kitchen sink, drank a glass of water. The butterfly was still with me. I couldn't believe this. I said, well, I got to go take a shower. You got to go outside. I opened the door and went out on the deck. I sort of pushed the butterfly with my finger and it flew off. I watched it fly away down the yard. It was just unbelievable. I never had a butterfly land on me before. Then I went to take a shower and cried. I really didn't know that the butterfly had any significance until I went to a bereaved parents group just a few days later.
Oh, Al.
And his daughter came and hung out with him as a butterfly. But then I researched a little deeper on Baylor University's website. They have a whole page about butterflies, and apparently many cultures starting since the ancient times relate butterflies to the human soul. In ancient Greek, the word for butterfly is psyche, which means soul. And I'm talking a lot of cultures, like the Egyptians, ancient Greeks, Romans, Native Americans, from Mexico, Russia. Butterfly in Russian is, I'm going to really bash this up, dushishka, which is derived from dusha, which means soul. Spain, Germany, and the Aztecs believe that it's a happy end in the form of beautiful butterflies let me read that again. The Aztecs also believed the happy dead in the form of beautiful butterflies would visit their relatives to assure them that all was well. These butterflies flew around the house and around bouquets of flowers, which carried by Aztec men of social rank. So yeah, I had this experience this past weekend of saying goodbye to Sweet Fen, and yeah, it's very symbolic. I personally think the butterfly, he had a kitty cat pal named Vivi, that I think we've talked about on the show before, but
Yes.
that I think it was little Vivi coming to visit him in a butterfly form.
That's super interesting. First of all, Kendall, I'm very sorry for your loss. I love how he got that last jolt of energy, that last playful spark left in him. But I mean, at the same time, was there any part of like, oh wait, are we doing the right thing? Look at him play.
Oh,
He's
no
so
question. He hadn't eaten for a while, and he was very emaciated. He was in a lot of pain, so it was definitely the right thing. But what it did is I felt like it just confirmed like his like sister cat is waiting for him, and this is like it ended up being one of like the most peaceful experience of having to let a loved one go that I've like been a part of.
So I didn't realize that butterflies were a sign of the afterlife or all those associations with souls. But when you were telling the story, I was thinking of like any memorable experiences I had with butterflies. And like I saw blue butterflies when I was in Australia. But the thing I most remember actually was walking through a field on the campus I was like working on, the University of New England in Australia. I walked through this field near the dorm, and a flock of butterflies. What is a flock? What is that? What they're called? Like a flock of butterflies.
A flurry.
Like emerged from the grass, and just it was like crazy. I think they were monarchs. They looked like monarchs. They weren't blue, but they were like so many butterflies. I've never seen that many butterflies in my life, and it was a year after my dad died, and like a lot of my time in Australia it was like the 1 year anniversary of my dad's death, like at that time. And I find that so interesting because like when you're telling the story, these instances when I was in Australia come to mind, but also like I do associate Australia with a lot of like just that first year of grief and not knowing what the fuck to do with it, essentially, and looking for connection and looking for signs, and
anything out there.
Yeah. I guess maybe I didn't even recognize it as that when I saw it, like that's crazy. Have you seen, there's this one video I've seen a couple times pop up of a family that their mom says that she's going to come visit them as a bird or a cardinal or something when she dies. Yeah. And
I think that was on that Netflix show that we watched.
Oh, that's right.
And the bird is just straight up, it like won't even leave. And they're like, okay, you can go now. The bird
it like flew in the house. The bird flew in the house. It wouldn't leave. It was landing on them repeatedly on their shoulder. I mean, that was crazy. I get goosebumps talking about that.
Yeah. I took a course, which was maybe my favorite college course, but it was philosophy of the soul, or no, philosophy of spirituality, something like that. But, one of the lessons she had talked about, and this I think has now been debunked, but at the time it kind of blew my mind, is that, that we lose 21 grams after we die. Have you heard this before? That the human body loses? I think it's been debunked now. But she said, oddly, the weight of a butterfly is almost exactly 21 grams. And I was like, well, I guess it would have to depend on the butterfly.
Yeah, that's exactly.
But when she told me in my little 19-year-old brain, I was like, everything is connected, miracle world, But
I have heard that 21 grams at the soul. I am kind of curious about that being debunked. I'm writing that fact down. You were talking about the spreading of Mike's mom's ashes and the butterfly. My family took pictures of my dad spreading the ashes. Someone took pictures and then pointed out how they thought they saw the devil's face form in the ashes.
No, you keep that shit to yourself. Do not share that information, Aunt Peg or whoever.
Oh, and then there was Sisters Kate's comment of the devil got to him. The devil got to him.
God, don't tell his children that. Don't do it. Oh my God, Alyssa.
I'll probably cut that. That's not as beautiful as butterflies. But deer or something like my family associates with them. My dad and
deer.
Yes, deer is
Okay.
is one of our deals. So, I love
Cool.
that. That's interesting. It makes so much sense now. Your little butterfly intro.
You will never think of butterflies the same.
Butterflies seem like they have no control of their own bodies, is what I observe when I look at. They're just like, like it's just where am I going to land? They just seem like all
they're
over
fucking
the place.
graceful and wonderful,
No.
and that's not true.
Okay, that's fine.
Do you have a story?
I do have a story. All right. My story comes to us from Stephen. Okay. And Stephen writes, "Hello, I absolutely love your podcast and thought I might contribute a story from my personal experience with the paranormal.
Awesome.
In September of 2008, a friend and I were in the Ouray/Telluride area of Colorado." Is that how you pronounce that? Ouray? I lived in Colorado for 10 years and I stared at that name and that word.
Ouray.
It's spelled our A-Y.
Ouray.
Ouray?
I feel like I should know also, but you nailed it. That
Okay.
was the perfect pronunciation.
Ouray,
Done.
Telluride area of Colorado. I was big into off-road vehicle recreation at the time, and this area is known for its stunning and often treacherous trail driving. A majority of these trails are old logging and mining roads that are hacked out of the stone face of the mountains. I go in the off-season to avoid summer crowds and rarely see other drivers on the trails. On this particular trip, we were driving a trail called Imogene Pass that connects Telluride to Ouray. Oh man, that name's going to come out a couple times here. Via the San Juan Mountains. Most of these trails reach elevations above the tree line, revealing a vast barren landscape of gray rock with miles of unobstructed views. The 4x4 trail is about 17 miles long and is the width of a single vehicle. One side of the trail is a straight drop, hundreds to thousands of feet down, and the other side is lined with exposed rock from the mountain. Driving this path...
Oh, that's terrifying.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's Colorado, though. There's a lot of terrifying like that in Colorado. Loveland Pass comes to mind. This sounds even gnarlier than Loveland Pass, but man, that was sketchy.
Well, it's off-road. There's no road.
Yeah.
You're just like hugging rocks. Okay.
Yeah, and single, no, that's freaky. Driving this pass can be deadly and requires careful and methodical operations at speeds around 5 to 10 miles per hour. The route is riddled with the remnants of old cabins and mining camps from presumably the mid to late 1800s. I've no doubt that many deaths and tragic events have unfolded from then until present day. It is not uncommon to spot vehicle parts and sometimes entire vehicles at the bottom of the mountain, leaving evidence of such misfortune. We were, ooh, that's creepy. So some people don't make that pass, huh?
Damn. Nobody can check on them either. I mean, can they? Okay.
Yeah, you think there's like skeletons in those cars?
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
I'm thinking is just haunted as hell.
Well, and he's referring, we've talked about that, the old cabins and mining camps, how like the climate is so dry. They just stay. They just don't break down like they do in other parts of the country.
It's best ghost towns in Colorado.
Oh my God. So cool. We were a few miles into the trail when we began to notice more snowfall than expected. There are several areas of the trail that do not provide for a turnaround. Once you commit to going up, you have to keep going, as reversing back down is nearly impossible. Stephen,
17 miles going 5 miles an hour in the snow. I'm feeling anxious already about this drive.
Yeah, and I mean, that's what Colorado is all about. And the mountains in general, you go up, you're like, wait, it's June. Why is there snow here? Like, you don't, because you're in the fucking mountains. There's like, you wouldn't expect it.
Yeah, out of nowhere.
Yeah. We stopped at one of these quote unquote point of no return sections of the trail, contemplating the likelihood of success in getting to the top. This point was the beginning of the highest climb, taking you up to 13,000 feet, seemingly straight up. You cannot stop, you cannot turn around, cannot go back. The issue of concern was a visible snowdrift over the trail right at the peak of the pass. We could either drive to the top and hope the drift was passable, not too deep, or abandon the venture. From this vantage point, you could see for several miles down the trail and up. As we contemplated, I noticed a person driving a four-wheeler/ATV down towards us from the direction of the peak. What I was seeing seemed odd. Something wasn't right about this rider, but I couldn't describe it to myself until later. He drove an older machine, a seemingly 80s era model that would look brand new in its time. His dress was of the same era, and the garish look to and about him was reminiscent of a scene from an old Polaroid photo. Oh my God, Stephen, I love this so much.
It's so well written. I'm there right now.
It is beautifully written. As the rider approached and passed us, a statement was echoed from and about his person. Without stopping or even looking at us, the statement exclaimed, "Don't go." Oh, the voice was haunting. Is that okay? Don't go. The voice.
You can do more haunted. You
Okay.
can do more haunted. Do it.
Don't. Hold on. My voice cracked. I talk a lot. Okay. Don't go.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
The voice was haunting in its slow cadence and monotone delivery. At the time, I thought the moment was weird and a little spooky, but blamed these thoughts on the thin air and ominous environment. I feel like I could see myself doing that, being all weird to somebody. No, thou shalt not pass. Right? Like, sure. Okay. Soon after the rider passed, another two riders on four-wheelers approached from the same direction. Nothing was odd about these two, and they drove up to my truck where we were sitting. One rider told me not to try and traverse the pass. The snowdrift at the top was at least 10 feet deep and impassable. I thanked him and told him that his friend had already driven by and warned us. He seemed a little perplexed and stated that he wasn't riding with anyone else and that the two of them were the only ones that were on the trail.
Yeah. We knew it. We knew it.
I told him that a third rider had just driven by not 2 minutes before their arrival. As mentioned before, you can see the trail for several miles down the mountain. I got out of the truck and looked, and the mystery rider was nowhere to be seen. This was in 2008. Cell phones were sketchy at best, even in town, and certainly did not have any reception this high up on the mountain. But just as the second set of drivers drove away, my friend's cell phone rang. She answered it, and it was her grandmother. Her voice was shaking, and she spoke in an almost unintelligible panic. She exclaimed, "Are you okay? Are you all okay?" We said, "Yes. Why? What's wrong?" Her grandmother said that she had been taking a nap and had the most horrible dream that we were sliding down an icy road before falling off of a mountainous cliff.
Get this shit out. What? I have goosebumps. So
I love it. I want to give this story a hug. I love it so much.
Yes. Yes.
Needless to say, we did not attempt the rest of the trail. I often think of this ghostly rider and of the warning he gave us, most certainly saving us from a plummet off a mountain road. Thanks for taking the time to read my story and keep up the good work. Steve from the great land of Buda, Texas.
Ah, Buda! Yes! Oh my God, Steve. Yes.
Steve, that was
gold.
So beautifully written. I'm like blown away. So such a I love it.
Phenomenal. I also love that whatever guides this universe knew that you needed like 3 proofs not to go up there, because I think if it were just the physical, actual couple who came down, they were like, oh no, it's bad. You might have been like, we could do it.
Yeah.
But you had to have the ghost ATV of the 80s, that couple, and then grandma to be like, you know what? Bad idea. We're not going to do it.
Yeah, I'm convinced now. I've like been in those situations with like Mitch for sure. Like actually it just sounds like Christmas tree hunting to me, because we do that up the road. Oh shit, too much snow. Back on down because it's those one lane mountain roads. But
oh, that gives me intense anxiety.
The totally 80s ATV dude went off the road, man. Oh my God. The only thing that would make this story more perfect is if they like looked over the edge and down below was the totally 80s ATV.
Oh, they see like a neon puffer jacket from the 80s. They're like, no.
Yeah, like some cool sunglasses.
Oh man.
Totally neon. Oh my gosh.
So good. And he is not wrong about 2008 cell phones. Like, if you could get reception up on the mountain, actually nobody got reception. No, it didn't even matter what cell phone plan you had. You just, if at a certain elevation, you just can't use your phone anymore.
No, even now, not even 2008.
That's
I mean,
true.
like, it's totally like those mountains. There's plenty of spots. So the fact the grandma at that moment called, it was like bam, bam, bam.
God, it's so good.
Love
it's
it.
So good. It's so good.
Oh my gosh, Steve, thank you
All
so
right,
much for this story.
You get the award. Congratulations.
Yeah, I'm like,
wonderful.
I feel like, should we just end the podcast forever on that one? That was a great story.
But then what do I do about this one that I have in my
shit.
head?
Okay, we'll keep it going, Steve. Thank you so much.
But next person who writes in, you got a tough bill to fit. Wait, what's the saying? You got
shoes to fill.
Shoes to fill.
It's not. I don't know what you're saying. But Buda, the land of Buda, the Buda Antique Mall, the haunted antique mall too.
Buda is a special place.
Is it beautiful?
I love it.
Okay. Beautiful stories. Steve.
You know that's on a water tower somewhere.
I don't feel good about that one.
All right. I have a story from Wendy. Wendy writes, this happened when I was living in my old house in Mexico. I was probably around 10 or 11. On this particular night, my mom slept in the room with my sister and I because my dad was away working. She was in bed with me, and my sister slept on the floor next to me. She had volunteered to sleep there so Mom could sleep in the bed with me. That night, I woke up to turn on my other side. When I opened my eyes, I saw a girl standing where my sister slept. She had dark hair, and I couldn't see her face. She was standing there, holding a pair of scissors. I quickly turned back around and pretended that I did not see her, convincing myself that it was just my imagination.
No, this makes me cry. The other story gave me goosebumps. This is just like instant tears.
Maybe we should have ended on your story.
I guess we do make people cry, but not the sad kind of cry. The more like, make it stop.
Make it stop.
Yeah.
The next morning, I woke up and told no one about it. I mean, I was just dreaming, right? Well, later that day, my sister pulled me into my mother's room and said, "Don't tell Mom, but someone cut my hair last night." And she showed me the piece of hair that had been chopped off. Naturally, I panicked and told her what I had seen that night. My sister then told me that she used to see a girl in her dreams and that it would sometimes harm her, and she would wake up with similar cuts that she would have gotten in her dream. We don't live there anymore, and when we visit, I often have nightmares, but haven't experienced anything paranormal in that house again. But Wendy did go on to tell me that a recent paranormal experience happened in the house that she is in now. she said that it was a couple of years back. My sister and I were showering at the same time in 2 separate bathrooms. At one point during my shower, I thought that I heard my dad and mom having a conversation in the living room. He was working at the time, and I thought, oh, he must be back. My parents' voices were loud, but because of the water, I couldn't make out any words. When I came out of the shower, my mom was sitting on the couch, and I asked where Dad was. And she told me, well, he hasn't arrived yet. What do you mean? And I explained to her what I just heard, and she quickly said, don't even play around right now. Your sister just came out of the shower because she heard something too. Apparently, around the same time as me, my sister heard a loud scream coming from the living room, and she thought something happened to Mom. So she wrapped herself in her towel and ran to check, but my mom was just sitting there. My sister and I talked about it, and it was super creepy because we both heard something that wasn't there. Other little things happened at home, like the shower curtain moving, and twice I had someone or something whistle in my ear. And that's Wendy's story.
Wendy. Oh my gosh. Is she a twin with her sister? Like, they seem
I don't
really
know, but
connected.
the fact that super connected. I know. The fact that both of her most memorable paranormal experiences occurred with her sister. Oh, the scissor one, though. The scissor one.
I have a couple things to say about this story. One, my cousin cut my cousin's hair in her sleep. Maybe it was just the sister and it was just her cover story. She gave her some real cute, just like not even real, not some, like just like one little chunk of bangs, like
right
a little 1 inch wide strip of bangs right in the middle. So maybe that was the cover story. Someone cut your hair. I actually saw a ghost last night with scissors. It must have been her.
Okay, but then what about the sister dreaming about the little girl harming her?
No, that's
who
freaky.
looked like that. I mean, confirmation.
Yeah.
Well, what little ghostie's carrying around scissors?
I don't know.
that.
That is creepy.
Oh, shit. That reminds me of our conversation we had a few weeks ago when we were talking about how you would haunt me to tell me that you were still alive.
Yes,
and it was to cut my fucking bangs.
There we go. She's just giving her a sign. They got to figure out who they lost.
Signs.
It's a sign. My other comment about this was just a fun fact I learned recently, because that author's name was Wendy, correct?
Yeah.
Did you know that the name Wendy wasn't popular until Peter Pan? And J.M. Barrie, the author of Peter Pan, popularized the name. It wasn't a name.
Interesting.
And it came from a little girl named Margaret Henley that he was friends of the family or whatever. And this little girl that was super cute called the author her Fwendy Wendy. And so when he came over, she'd be like, oh, we're Fwendy Wendy's. I believe he was an adult at the time. But anyway, so it was this little girl who then she died when she was 5. So there's the spooky part of it. Fwendy Wendy. And so
now the name Wendy lives on.
Exactly. It was not it wasn't really a name or anything before Peter Pan. And now Wendy's writing us stories.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that interesting?
That.
I had no idea. Yeah.
That's a good little factoid, a little history lesson.
Yeah. Wait, come to think of it, that little girl had a thing with scissors. No, she didn't. I'm just kidding. She didn't show up and cut Wendy's sister's hair.
The Wendy's are hunting Wendy's.
Yeah. Woo. Oh my gosh. Good stories. Love it.
Yeah. Good. Thank you, Wendy, for sharing that, letting us share that. Okay. So I know we're skipping you, but could I tell another story? I'm really excited about.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I want to hear it. I want to hear it. Go for it.
Do you remember couple of weeks or maybe months, I don't know, time is weird, I told a story about the woman who made pies and the ghosts really loved the smell of pies?
Yes, Wolfen with her litter of children.
Yes, she's back with another story that is a winner.
Okay.
Okay.
I forget she's in the current time and place because in that story that she told, it makes me think she lived in the olden days. I picture it completely like the Dust Bowl.
No, that was like in the 80s.
I know. I don't know. My brain like said it in the Dust Bowl.
But
All Oklahoma.
Funny you said that. This one it takes place when she was 5 in 1959. So we are kind of like traveling back in time a little bit.
Okay. Wait, what you like to do that? Well, that
I don't know. I think
like
it's
that
different
one.
every time. All right. So Wolfen is 5. My family lived on an Air Force base in southwestern Illinois. It was a beautiful summer day. The sun was shining and a soft, warm breeze was blowing through the corn and red clover fields. The corn was as high as an elephant's eye. The red clover was in bloom and scented the air ever so slightly. I'd gotten myself and my 2 older siblings in trouble for sneaking off the base and going into the forest the day before. I thought my siblings would never play with me again, but my older sister asked me if I wanted to sneak off base and go play at the school playground. She'd left something there earlier and wanted to retrieve it. I was ecstatic she'd forgiven me. The school is about 2 blocks down the road from one of the gates on base. There were certain ways to sneak past the guards at the gate. Of course, we knew all of them. A large cornfield was across the road from the school. Red clover fields bordered the school on the other 3 sides. The clover field that bordered the playground came right up to it by the swing set, close to 5 feet. You're doing so many hand signals.
Came right up close to 5 feet from it. There's about 5 feet from the clover field to the
clover field that bordered the playground came up to it by the swing set. Okay, so like in 5 feet from the swing set, there is a clover field.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. 5. Okay.
And it's tall, as high as an elephant's eye. Right. Is clover that
clover?
tall? No, maybe something else was that tall.
That's corn.
Red clover.
It sounds
what
pretty,
was
though.
as high as an elephant's eye? Oh, the corn was high. Oh, shit. No, the clover's blooming. Okay.
Wait, did she say that the corn is high as an elephant's eye?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's also just like a saying. It's from
I know, I like it.
The play Oklahoma, I believe. It's probably before that, but it is from Oklahoma.
Maybe that's where Oklahoma got it. Illinois. Okay, here we go. The school. We got to the school playground, and my sister told me that I could wait for her while I played on the swings. She said that she was sure the object that she lost was on the other side of the building. This made me nervous, but she promised to be right back. I sat on a swing and waited for her, and I waited and waited and waited a long time, and the sun kept getting lower in the sky. I don't know how long I sat on that swing waiting for her, but it seemed like a lifetime. The afternoon had turned to early evening. She had tricked me. She had left me there alone. I had sat on a swing facing the red clover to watch the bees buzzing to and fro. I became too scared to get up and move. I wanted my sister to come and get me. I honestly don't know why I was afraid. I was an adventurous child, but this time I was frightened. I wanted someone to come and get me. All of a sudden, I saw a glow on the other side of the red clover field, and it was coming toward me. Now I really froze. It mesmerized me and scared me at the same time. As the glow came closer, I could see a figure. It was a figure wrapped in a white glow walking across the field on top of the clover. I squinted and kept looking across the field. I thought my imagination had gotten the better of me. I closed my eyes, hoping whoever that was would go away. I thought I was scared before. I was terrified now. I was frozen to the swing seat. I didn't want to be there, and I tried to think happy thoughts. It didn't work, but I tried. I dare not move. I dare not open my eyes. Just go away, go away. And then I heard a voice. It was soft and gentle. And the figure said, "Open your eyes and gaze upon me." I barely opened my eyes to peek at this glowing figure that was standing on top of the red clover. The figure repeated for me to open my eyes and gaze upon me. The glowing figure said it would not hurt me. I opened my eyes and looked, really looked. The figure was wearing a white hooded robe, and the white glow was so bright it hurt my eyes. I couldn't see a face, no eyes, nose, or mouth, but it had spoken to me. How was any of this possible? I was scared and confused. The white-robed figure spoke again. It said, "Get up and run home. Don't look back. Just run." I was stunned. I really couldn't fathom what was happening to me. Then in a more forceful voice, the figure said, "Run, run, and do not look back. Go now." That was all it took. I shot out of that swing like a scared rabbit. I ran faster than I'd ever run before. It felt like I was flying. I ran home in tears the whole way. I didn't care and ran right through the gate, past the stunned guards. I ran home to my mom crying and hugging her. She asked me what happened, and I told her the whole story. She told me that it was okay, and she said that it was Jesus, and he just didn't want me to get into trouble. I went to my room still crying, and my sister asked me, "What's wrong?" But she had a smirk while asking. I wouldn't tell her, and I laid on my bed crying until I fell asleep. The next day, my parents whispered in the kitchen. I sat in the living room waiting for the boom I knew was coming. This was twice in a row that I'd snuck off base. My dad came in and sat beside me. He had a very worried look. He told me that I was a very, very lucky girl. I didn't understand. I wasn't in trouble? My dad said never to do something like that again, and then he hugged me so tight that I almost couldn't breathe.
The end? Okay.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Wait a minute. Not Jesus. It could have been Jesus. If you think Jesus was an alien, maybe.
Oh, you think it's an alien?
I mean, Air Force Base, whispers in the kitchen. It doesn't leave now. Don't look back. Like, that's ominous and that's freaky. That's like, maybe there's more of me coming and you need to get the heck out of here now. Before the rest
and
of
then
us.
it doesn't have a mouth, but that's kind of the thing with aliens is like they can communicate through the mind, right?
Yeah, the telepathy.
Oh my God, here I am getting on the alien board with you.
It was a matter of time. It was on board the craft, Britt.
It does kind of make more sense than some spiritual.
Well, Jesus being like, leave and don't look back does not strike me as a Jesus.
I like that.
Jesus, like, way of speaking to people.
Why would this alien ghost Jesus say, like, open your eyes and look upon me? Why?
Open your eyes and look upon me. And then run away and don't look back. Like, what?
No, don't look at me.
Yeah, stop. I mean, I changed my mind. Don't look at me anymore. I'm done.
Maybe the alien was really ghost Jesus. Maybe they were really disappointed by then maybe they're like, all right, I got on my nicest white robe. Gaze upon me. And maybe the little girl had a grimace of like, oh, God. And then she's like, run away and never look back.
Yeah,
like,
stop looking. Yeah. Stop. I'm a hideous.
I'm like hideous.
I mean, she made it really self-conscious all of a sudden. They thought they'd be gasping in awe of like,
right, like, oh, look
like,
at this, so amazing.
Yeah.
And the girl's like, oh, I can't even, my eyes hurt.
I can't even finish opening them. Or the sister was like trying, like knew what was over there. And she's like, here, creatures, here's my little sister. like, get rid of this. I'm going to get rid of her. Yeah. Ooh.
Oh, man. That's such a sibling thing to do, is to be like, you sit here and wait for me to return. Don't worry, I'll be right back.
Yeah. Oh, man. I was like, this isn't my fault. I was little and I left a little girl. I was being babysat with another person, and I really hated the little girl that I was getting babysat with. She was just like little and snotty and whiny, and I did not like her. And I was supposed to be pushing her on a swing in the backyard or something. I was little, and it was a hot day, and I just like left her out there on the swing. I don't think I was even in kindergarten.
Of this little girl?
Yeah, I know. And then the babysitter was just like, "Oh my God, where is she?" And the little girl's like asleep on the swing, like in the sun,
passed out in the sun.
I know. I did not.
Worst
like
babysitter
her.
ever. Not you, the other bitch who
No.
was like, "Why aren't you, kindergartner, watching this infant?"
I was really mean to that little girl. Sorry. I'm having flashbacks I forgot about her until this story. I'm really sorry, little girl. I don't remember your name. That's really mean to you, though. She had like pierced ears. She was a baby. She was a baby. It was just like a really snotty baby. She had pierced ears and they were always all crusty, and she was always all snotty, crusty, and like just a gross
That's
baby.
Like every toddler
I know.
on the planet.
Still, she didn't deserve to be left out in the sun for a Jesus alien to gaze upon thee. Oh, sorry. Like, man.
I do love that story though, Wolfen. Like Wolfen is such an excellent writer though that I just feel transported into her story.
Yes, you really do feel transported there. And I think Wolfen's got something going on. I think it's interesting that people have repeated experiences. They're just like, I have a very sensitive sense of smell. I smell things no one wants to smell. I don't want to smell them. Some people see ghosts. I smell trash from a mile away. That's like my superpower.
Your superpower.
Yeah. We all got our thing.
Like somebody has used bleach nearby.
Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah.
Well, interesting. And it only popped in my head. The story of Wolfen is Wolfen didn't encounter the people under the house, the strange ghosty people under her house. It was her children.
Oh, that's
So she's
right.
passed along this like well, that wasn't a word. Supernatural like, powers.
I don't even know. Jesus. What did I say earlier? I don't think I could. Jesus. I can't even repeat it. It just happens in the moment.
Easy.
We can't
Jeezy.
talk.
Nope, not at the end.
Well, at the children's level, right? They're hearing voices and stuff. That's very interesting.
I know.
I like that story. What a mean older sister. That's just like, yeah. I saw that coming. I was like, she is up to no good. There's a little foreshadowing there.
Me. Let's play. Sure.
Two suspect.
Oh, we had it all this week.
Heck yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
These are some good stories.
Yeah. Well, if you have a story about a glowing alien approaching you as a child or, an totally 80s ghost.
Oh, love 80s ghosts.
I love to hear more about that. Time travel. I don't remember what your first story was.
Grandma's calling
That's
you
right.
when they really shouldn't be able to call you.
Grandma's calling you.
Yes.
But and also like just signs from the afterlife and stuff, little signs from beyond.
that.
I love those sorts of stories. Just and no story is too small. Be brave. Don't be shy. I mostly don't read them until on air anyway, so it's too late. No going back. Anyway, write it in. I'll read it live, and
you can really trick Alyssa good.
Yeah, I'll read like pretty much anything. Really anything.
We have an email where you can write in a story. What is that, Alyssa?
It's
our hot box.
It's skeletalespodcast@gmail.com. And you can also call us on our hotline.
302-689-DEAD, 302-689-3323. We're on social media. We do that thing.
Skeletales Podcast on Instagram. We're Skeletales Pod on Twitter. We are on Facebook. We're Skeletales and then Skeletales Community. Like the page. Join the group. Do all the things. Share with your friends.
We have merch. We have t-shirts, notebooks, pins, stickers. Oh, wait.
We don't have pens.
I just thought about making pens. I just haven't done it yet.
I want to find some hats.
Maybe by the time this airs, we'll get some pens up.
Maybe.
You can get that on our link tree on Instagram or at our website, skilletailspodcast.com.
Yeah.
Is there anything?
I mean, I don't even know if you can like and review anymore. Just like all our social shit, and then like maybe tag a couple people. But like the Apple Podcasts has gotten weird. I can't even like navigate through there. So,
oh yeah,
I don't know.
We're not gonna force people through that labyrinth.
One more thing. I do have one more thing, Brett.
Okay.
Brett, one more thing.
Yes. What is it?
Haunt you later.
Yeah. Haunt y'all later.
Good night.
Good night.